the craziest place possible that I could. So when I found the India trip, I knew that that was for me.
Just like have that opportunity to see the world in a different way. It wasn't going to be anything like American culture, and so it was definitely going to be a place where I was really out of my element, but I knew I was going to be okay.
India's the most amazing place. I'm never going to go there again, so it'll be something really special.
I wanted something that would be a completely different experience. I thought that India would definitely provide that.
The goal is always to go as many places as possible. And I've never been to India before. I know a lot of people who have, and they said that being in India kind of changed their perspective on the world.
Tomorrow we will do the sightseeing of Bodh Gaya. About 8:30. Is that okay? We will go in the morning, that's why we are leaving at 8:30 to get the permit to go and see the function there.
Do you see the red fort? It's a beautiful place.
That's on Snapchat, right?
How long do you want seconds?
So I think that the busyness that comes with India, that was a really big adjustment. There's not a lot of eye contact and hellos. It's just like, get out of my way kind of thing.
The first rickshaw ride we rode was really crazy. Navigating the traffic was so scary. I was like, we're just on a bike, like we could die at any second. And then it was just like looking at everything, and we went down these like tiny alleyways with like little stores in them, and like people just like sitting in like dirt, and like it was just really fascinating and cool to like see how different people live.
I knew I was going to have some culture shock, but I mean, there was nothing that could have prepared me. I definitely feel that history, and I could just picture it being alive.
Being embraced in the whole culture was just very eye-opening, and like it just was very shocking to see, like, you know, we come from such a privileged lifestyle.
These are our cells, you can say. This is the entrance portion. To every monastery, you can see one entrance portion.
I remember thinking that, having the realization that in America we don't have buildings before the 1700s. As we come here and you really see, and it takes a while to wrap your mind around it, but once you do, that these buildings have been in place for thousands of years and that humans were here, it's just amazing. Like, got to put my mind into that perspective. I thought that was really amazing to see that history.
Into every individual daily thing, they've somehow incorporated parts and pasts of history into it. So you're living your present life, but at the same time, you're learning from history. Everything kind of connects.
You have so much you want to give to this God that you create a whole building so intricately made for this God or this religion, and you've just given that, and that's like kind of incredible.
We went to a Hindu temple. You saw like different people worshiping different gods. And I thought it was cool that even though it's like one religion, they could all be in the same place worshiping different things.
You could just see that they're in a place of like mental commitment and spirituality when they were doing it, so it felt real. The actual practice of how they worship was different than what I originally read.
Knowing that the Ganga was as polluted as it was, but still seeing people believe in its ability to be a sacred like body of water, and to think that it has the ability to heal people, the ability to take them to moksha, to give them some sort of salvation. Everything kind of just hits you straight in the face. The smell, like there's cows everywhere. Like, there's no escape from any of the city, and yet in that atmosphere, everything is sacred, which just kind of blew my mind.
It's a religion that includes all the senses.
And when we went to go see the Arthi on the Ganges, that was interesting to me. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was like an immersion.
The ceremony was just spectacular and really cool to see in the morning. And you can't read about that and get the same feeling.
We went to Bodh Gaya, a place where the Buddha was enlightened.
So it was the experience at the Bodhi tree. You could really feel just a sense of spirituality in that whole temple complex. And there was a really interesting moment where half of the students were sitting under the Bodhi tree and they were all meditating. And I really loved seeing that whole sense of unity.
And we all just sat for 15, 20 minutes. It was so peaceful, and there was like a soft breeze, and like there were monks around me like softly chanting, and like it was one of the coolest things that I've ever done.
And see all the like devotees there and the monks there, basically where the Buddha was enlightened. Like it just felt so special. Like I couldn't ever experience that again, you know.
I really love seeing people kind of worship, I guess, because then you really see like the concentration, the commitment, the love, the bhakti that goes into just being a part of a faith. And like especially in Buddhism, it was kind of cool because like we just got to sit there and like meditate with everyone else for a while, and there was that kind of sense of community there too when we all sat together for the purpose of just like being there, you know.
I can honestly say that that's like the most prominent time in my life when my mind has felt completely clear. I was just able to be and sit there and have a very mindful moment.
Joining them, it was just so calm and tranquil. I enjoyed that.
The Sikh faith, I was automatically drawn to it, especially when we went to the Golden Temple. Seeing there and then actually experiencing it and doing it, that was like something that really stood out to me.
It was just amazing to see this really honorable place for the Sikhs, and to go there I thought was a privilege and something that couldn't really be matched.
Watching the people touch the threshold when they stepped into the main temple, and then kneeling in front of the Adi Granth was you could not explain it to me. I just felt it, and that was my favorite experience of this trip.
I've been to a Gurdwara in the US, but the Golden Temple's in its own whole category. I just felt like I belonged. I'm not Sikh, but there was a sense of belonging and a sense of that we just all are connected somehow. And so I found that to be probably the most important part of the entire trip.
I think I enjoy Sikhism because kind of the equality for all and everyone being on the same playing field. That's something that I really enjoyed. Both men and women, there's no separation of classes between people.
I didn't know that much about it before this class, so everything I read was sort of a surprise, but I don't think I realized the enormity of the Langar Hall and how much preparation goes into it until I was actually there. That was one of my favorite things, and probably one of the most surprising, was how pure and happy it was, and how like sacred even daily acts felt. That was, you can't get that from a book.
Reviewing it. Oh, it passes.
I just like sat down and started rolling dough with all these people like who are actually like sick, and like that's like kind of their thing, and I'm not sick at all, so but they were still so welcoming and just like all smiles, like just willing to help me out. And it was just quite an experience too, and I felt like kind of good, like you're preparing a meal for anyone, like it's everyone regardless of like whatever like gender, like social class. It's kind of a nice thing. It's free and it just feels good.
That night we kind of had some free time, and some of us went and we did Seva, and it was great to make that choice because there are people who did not do it, but there was a group of us that decided we just wanted to go, and so we went and peeled and sliced potatoes and carrots for like 2 hours, and you don't like. No one else like speaks English, and you're like in this large group of like men who are staring at you because you're blonde, but like they all were like very like accepting and like teaching of like how they wanted it done. It was absolutely fantastic.
I was talking to my mom right before we left, and I was like, I don't know if I should go, I don't know if I should go, and she said, I know that you don't really want to do this right now, but just think about the 60,000 to 100,000 people who come to eat there every day, and just think about the bigger picture. And I think that is really kind of the epitome of Sikhism, is that everyone is equal and everyone deserves an equal opportunity to live their life the way they want to live, and is accepting of everyone. So even though I'm Catholic, I felt accepted by everyone who I encountered there. Overall, that was my favorite memory from the trip, was that day.
I didn't realize how much you had to experience religion to actually understand it. And so I'm happy I took this trip.
One of my classmates, Nico, he said that when he was at the Golden Temple, he felt like he wasn't part of this world. And I was like, well, that's amazing. I didn't know that something so close to me could have this kind of effect on anybody else. I don't think I've even had that kind of experience with another religion. Even though they don't believe in a certain religion, they can be still greatly affected by it.
They're much friendlier than, than we had kind of been told than our perception was prior to coming here. I did not meet one person while in India that, I felt like I was in an unsafe space because I was around them.
So it's just kind of nice to connect with people on like that human level, even though we're worlds apart.
People just want to be loved. People just want to be respected and to feel like they belong somewhere. And I've seen that people just want a place in the world and want to feel like this is where they're supposed to be.
I wanted to be outside of my comfort zone, and I wanted to learn about something that I'd never really learned about, and it was the experience that I was hoping for, and I definitely want to come back.
We experienced so much of India, like we saw the actual India, like this trip is for sure something I'll remember for the rest of my life, and I'm really glad that I did it.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Sicklands Foundation from the bottom of my heart, because without them, I wouldn't have been able to come on this trip. This experience has been so life-changing for me. I'm so incredibly grateful, and I just want to say thank you for that.
you.